Good evening. My name is Faisal Al-Khatib, and I have with me Drew Wishover from Enterprise Title. We're with Better Informed Housing. This is a live broadcast, and you can call anytime. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see our number. It's 312-738-1060. Better Informed Housing. We're about building the future, saving the community, helping the neighbors, providing education and information to homeowners about real estate in their communities, residential and commercial. So we're here today with Drew. Drew is with Enterprise Title. Enterprise Title is a title company that provides title insurance and title commitments and issues regarding the purchase, the sale, and the refinance of property. So we did a prior show about title companies and what they do. And so today we're going to talk specifically about what we call a title commitment as well as a title invoice. Drew, thanks for joining us today.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And exactly what Faisal said is we talked a little bit about why we need title insurance, and we discussed a little bit of the things that are important for title insurance. Now we're going to kind of take you through the formality of what a title commitment is, and it's ultimately the company's commitment to issuing that final title insurance policy upon the buy or sell of your home. So there are certain things that come up through the course of a title. There's certain questions that people may have. There's certain things you may see on a title commitment that you're maybe uncertain of, and it really does cover everything from liens, encumbrances, taxes, all kinds of different. It tells you all about the title to your land.
So we're going to briefly jump into. So Better Informed Housing is a Illinois nonprofit, and you can look us up online at www.betterinformed.org, located at 218 North Jefferson, Suite 103, and the phone number for the organization is 312-533-2688, and you can email us at neighbors@betterinformed.org. So Drew, quickly, we talked about the title policy. So a title policy is the insurance that a title company will give, usually the seller will provide to a buyer, guaranteeing that they're getting free and clear title. So correct. There's two things that usually couple with that, correct?
Correct.
What are those two things, Drew?
There's an owner's policy, and then there's a loan policy.
Okay. And so I've got with me today, you brought us and gave us a redacted title commitment from a loan policy. This is the owner's policy, correct?
This is the owner's policy, correct.
So looking at the owner's policy, this is what a buyer and a seller would actually see, and this is provided by the seller's attorney usually?
Correct. Seller's attorney usually is the one who will dictate what title company would be using, and they would then give us the details of the purchase, whether it be the contract, or just a phone call to tell us who the buyers and sellers are.
So walk us through, if you can. I guess this says Schedule A, and it's a title. This is the title company. Can you walk us through this first page and what
Sure.
we're looking at?
Sure. So the first thing that you see, we will put an effective date here. Okay. The effective date is ultimately a date that the information that we provide is good through. So it'll ultimately tell you that as of this date, the information that is encompassed in this entire policy or this commitment is good through that date.
So is that the date that I'm actually buying the property?
That is not. That is the date that the records are given through the different counties, depending on what county this is in. This is just a record that the county is showing for their data.
So this is the date that, for example, the sales attorney got when they requested this information from you.
This date is what the county will dictate for us to put on here. So if we were to do a buy-sell today, that effective date may be 3 or 4 days older based on the fact that they're just not current with some of the recordings that have taken place. The collar counties like Will and DuPage and Kane, they're pretty good at being 1 or 2 days off, but I think Cook County is a little bit more like a week to 10 days.
Gotcha. And so the next piece here we see, this is what this commitment is committing to, essentially.
Correct. So this will dictate what kind of policy are they looking to seek. So an owner's policy, obviously very self-explanatory. It's representing the purchaser, the buyer of the property, and the loan policy is the lender.
So the owner's policy says that the new owner,
correct,
is getting insurance paid for by the seller, the old owner, saying that the new owner has this property and owns it free and clear, subject to whatever we're going to find in here.
That is correct.
And then the loan policy, what exactly is a loan policy?
So the loan policy is issued to the lender, and it will show their mortgage of record once the transaction closes, and it ensures that their mortgage is in first position. So the lender will want a loan policy to indicate that they're in first position.
So if I'm the buyer, this is my mortgage company, this is my lender that gives me the money to buy the property.
Correct.
And this is saying that this commitment, this loan policy, this insurance policy is being given to my lender, which I have to pay for as the buyer.
Right.
That they're first in line, essentially.
Right.
Or whatever line they're supposed to be in pursuant to the transaction.
Correct.
And then the next piece here, what's the rest of this down here?
So this next part here, number 4, indicates that how the title to the land is vested. So if it is just owned by individuals, it would show the individuals' names here. In this example, there's a trust that is the title holder of record, which was established by the last deed. The last deed that was recorded to showing ownership to the property.
So who's the owner just before me to make sure that that owner has all the power to give me the property?
Absolutely.
So, okay. And just to, since the blacked out marks is redacted for protecting the privacy of the individual, because this is actually a real title commitment that we're looking at.
And then number 5, Faisal, is indicating the legal description of your property. The legal description of your property is defined in a couple different ways. One of those ways is through a permanent index number, also known as your PIN. That will get you to the actual description of where your land lies within the county that it is existing in. So you'll read it through here. It's lot 13. So as you see, there's many subdivisions, and there's many, when builders go do these different buildings and things, they take these parcels of land and they partition them up into lots, and then there's sections, and then there's townships, depending on the counties and all that you live. So this really just is a wordy version of explaining where your property is.
And then this is the PIN number, which you said, which is the tax identification number, and then the address would normally be listed here.
Correct. That is
And
correct.
then this is being signed by the title agent?
Well, this could be signed by a couple different people. The signature could be the attorney, which would be representative of the attorney agent who is bringing the deal to the title company. Or if there's not an attorney agent on the deal, like in a refinance purpose, then the title company representative would sign it.
And so the signing of this document essentially is them authorizing or guaranteeing that the work that's been done on this file.
Right. Correct.
So we're jumping here to the next page of the title commitment.
Which is the Schedule B.
And again, I remind you, this is Faisal and Drew. We're here from Better Informed Housing. The number at the bottom of the screen is 312-738-1060. If you have any questions regarding title or real estate issues in general, please feel free to give us a call and we'll answer your questions as best as we can. So back to the title commitment.
Okay. So these next Schedule B exceptions pertain to, these are required exceptions that really protect you, that will be also in the policy at the end. These are not things that are typically waived per se. What happens with these things is, these are all things that say, hey, if there's any defects, liens, or encumbrances, if there's any liens, discrepancies, rights of claims, I mean, this line items, all of the protections for you as the buyer to this property.
So for example, if you're talking about the first one here, we got defects, liens, encumbrances, adverse claims or other matters first appearing in the public records. So this is just kind of a covering thing that it's not recorded.
Correct.
And then here it says any lien for services or labor material. So this essentially is you're saying you're not going to insure for this, right? So then I could be buying a property and this I don't get insurance for some of this stuff. However, usually the seller will actually sign a document that says that they have no liens, there's no labor, there's nothing that they've done that would subject me to a mechanics lien as the buyer.
Right.
Because that's being the seller is swearing or giving an affidavit that nothing to be worried about here.
Yeah, the seller's ultimately clearing these items and saying, here, I'm giving you this property free and clear. There are no liens or encumbrances on this property unless otherwise noted.
And so then the seller's attorney will then waive these exceptions and say, you don't, we're giving you insurance, and this stuff is included in the insurance.
Correct.
So now there's a couple of things here that talks about conflicts in boundary lines, encroachments, easements, measurements.
Right.
That's right here in number 3.
So that's probably the one that is most talked about. I'm glad you brought that up. This is really taken care of by a survey. What'll happen at most buy-sell closings, there will be a survey that is issued which will really further define the building lines and encroachments, and then at that point in time, the attorneys usually will discuss seek a means of measure, whether the title company is going to insure over them, whether it's something that has to be, addressed further. But at any point in time, though, by this being waived, it will be detailed out in the final policy as to what those really are.
So then essentially a seller will go out, and the seller's attorney will order a survey.
Correct.
And then a surveyor, will go out there and measure out the lot lines and measure everything to make sure that everything is what's crossing over, what an encroachment would be. So would that be like, for example, utilities? So when they run the Comcast cable underneath my property?
Sure. So what'll happen is on the survey, you'll see there'll be maybe a building setback line that was established by the subdivision when they initially defined what the subdivision
By
was
the
going
village
to
of the
be.
city will say that from the edge of the property, the front property line, I can't build within 10 feet of that.
That is correct.
That's the setback.
That is a setback line. Then, like you were just mentioning before, the public utility easements will be also defined. That's where they're going to run all of their Comcast, all of their utilities. That's another specified area that you will find on the survey that you're not really allowed to build on those. And if there are encroachments on those, these are things that we would have to discuss and talk about endorsing over or insuring over as the title company, if there were any problems
So if I've got
with
a property that has a porch and it's crossing over onto a utility easement, what do I mean, should I be worried that Comcast is going to come in and tear my porch out? And who's going to pay for that?
Rightfully so, that's what you have the title insurance for. It depends on what that porch is, what that material is. If it's concrete, it's going to be obviously a little bit more risky because it's a bigger item. Like if a fence is over a boundary or a border, we're going to insure over it. That's not a big deal. If it's a garage that is in the utility easement, well, that garage can potentially have a risk of being knocked down because they've got to drive their big truck through there. They've got to get in there, and your garage is on their utility, which was denoted in the survey that you had. So that becomes a title company issue, which you've got the title insurance for. That becomes a claim to the title insurance
So
company.
would you insure that if there was an easement underneath somebody's garage?
Depending on how big, I would assess the risk. What would happen is we are it's like an insurance, you're in the business of risk, right? So we would say, it's, a half a foot. If it's, small increments, I'm probably not going to worry about it, and I would insure over it. If it's a majority of the building is on it, then I'm going to talk about having to discuss that as a
So if it runs right through the middle of the building?
Yeah, I'm not going to insure that. Yes, that's going to be something that's going to have to be dealt with before we insure over it. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Good to know.
Absolutely.
So back to the title commitment here. So essentially that takes care of these. And then any tax, so rights or claims of parties in possession not shown. So this would be like someone who is living in the property.
Right.
And then the owner would say, no, there's nobody living here anymore. Everybody's moved out, or they're going to be moved out. We're good to go. So they'll sign some sort of document that allows that.
Absolutely. There, the mortgages. There's all the mortgages are taken care of. The loss or damage by anything being recorded in the public record that doesn't show. We're definitely going to have the taxes that are going to be. They're going to reflect the taxes in there. Number 6 there.
Okay.
Whether they're paid, whether they're unpaid, if they're due and owing. These are all very important pieces of this that are necessary when you're going through the buying and selling process.
Okay. So this is actually a title commitment for a particular property. And looking at this, for example, we've got subject to taxes here. So looking at the first part of it, we're going to look at the taxes, right? So we've got essentially the 2016 tax, for example, for this property are $20,000, and those are paid. 2017 first installment tax, the amount of $11,000 have been paid. 2017 final installment taxes are not due yet or payable. So can you explain this a little bit for us in the taxes piece?
Sure. Taxes are paid in arrears, which means behind us. So we're in 2018, and we're dealing with the 2017 taxes. We're paying 2017 taxes in 18, okay? So the reality of what happens here is we are responsible to reflect the records. If the records showed that the taxes are paid, we would tell you that. If the records showed that the taxes are unpaid, we would list that as that they were delinquent. Then the attorneys would have to address that with their clients, and what happens ultimately is they could be redeemed if they're unpaid. There's a lot of different variables that would come to conversation with regard to the taxes. But the biggest concern or the biggest question could be if those taxes are sold. If those taxes are sold, now you have a whole nother different conversation to be had. Sold taxes, doesn't mean you're in trouble or you're going to lose your home, because in an instance like this, they would get redeemed, and that's a process of nothing more than getting an estimate of redemption, because that means somebody probably bought those taxes and they bought it for a dollar amount. They charge an interest rate to get that back. So a lot of times you'll see where part of the closing statement is to redeem those taxes. So the seller was the individual who was delinquent with these. It's going to be their responsibility. You as the buyer do not have the obligation to redeeming those taxes, because the seller has kind of sworn to you that they're going to sell this property to you guys free and clear. And a tax issue is not free and clear by any means. So it is their responsibility to make good on that tax issue.
So we've got that taken care of. So now moving on to some of the other pieces, you got mortgage. You got what are the 2, 3, 4? I mean, are
Sure.
these? So what do these represent?
So how we put the title commitment together in a chronological order, with taxes being first, and then we go on to any of the liens and encumbrances that are on the property, and then the final part of it are kind of more of what we call our standard exceptions. So after the taxes, we start to list out any of the liens that are out there. In this instance, number 2 says that there was a mortgage, or there is a mortgage on this property, and it will give you all the key components. Who are the mortgagees, who's the mortgagor, and then the dollar amount that is due and owing on this. Now, what will happen is the purpose of the sale would typically release this, because the proceeds from that sale are going to be used to pay this mortgage off. Then what we do, that it applies to the mortgage above it. This mortgage was assigned. All that means is that a bank says, you know what, I'm going to sell your loan to another bank, and that's the process done through the process of assignment. They assign the mortgage from Bank A to Bank B, and Bank A gets a fee for that. So all I'm doing in this example is denoting that this mortgage listed in number 2 was assigned 2 different times, 3 different times, and the final mortgage, the final assignment indicates to whom still has the debt, to whom the debt goes, and who has to get paid off. Then number 3, this is another mortgage in a second position.
So this one is, so essentially this first whole section, even though it's like 4 different banks named on here, is really all one. This is only one mortgage.
This is only one mortgage.
It's one mortgage that's been assigned multiple times, and then we jump to the third one, and the third one is a totally different mortgage.
Separate. Because as you'll see, this is Bank of America, this is Citibank, and then it ends up with PennyMac. Now this here is a credit line mortgage made to a totally different bank. So this can vary from things like a line of credit. This could be a myriad of different things.
But the reference would be so this mortgage, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it's blocked out for a particular reason, but this would have a document number, and then each of the subsequent assignments would refer back to that document number of the mortgage. And so that mortgage document number, and each type of document will have, every document that's recorded with the recorder's office has its own doc number, correct?
That is correct.
And then a mortgage and an assignment are 2 different documents, but the assignment will refer back to what it was that was being assigned, and specifically it'll reference this document number.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, each assignment will reference the mortgage that it is assigning.
And so then number 3 here actually is a totally different document number, which means that even though it's another mortgage with a different document number and a different date.
Right.
So it's second lender, second in line.
Right, and what this does is this affords the attorneys the ability to look at the title to determine what are the items that they have to clear before the closing to make sure and give you guys title free and clear as a seller.
So now the rest of this are just additional lines of credit that are also lines of credit or mortgages that are also attached and set up here in the process.
Right, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit, Drew, about the process in terms of, clearing that lien. What did that mean by clearing that line item? What did you mean by that?
So, looking at the mortgages that were on title that we saw, are looking back and going, okay, well, we need to get a release for these mortgages. If they're not going to be paid off through the proceeds of the sale, these mortgages need to be released. So they can be done in many different ways. So these, based on how old they are, some of them may have been released already. They may have been refinanced out. We as a title company are just reporting the news. That's all this is we're putting down and saying, here are the documents and information in the mortgages that we find, and somebody has to tell us what has happened to them, or are they still alive? If they're still alive, then again, somebody has to tell us what they're going to do with them. So we're looking for a release piece. We're looking for something to indicate that these are no longer an issue to title. And if they're going to get paid off through this closing, that's okay too. Then we will know, and they will get waived upon the final transaction of closing.
So I'm kind of going through the rest of this, kind of looking at, obviously making sure we redact everything. So we've got here, and I'm going to show, so there's to everybody, to our viewers to see this. So we talked about, if you remember earlier, people, we talked about the mortgages that were there, but I noticed a couple other things here. So there's like 6, so 5 was another credit line, so apparently there's something going on there.
Right.
But 6, 7, and 8, those don't look like mortgages. What
Those
exactly
aren't.
is that?
So number 6 specifically is a tax lien, and the IRS said, "Hey, you're not going to pay your taxes," and now we have a lien against this. It could be against the individual, and it could be against the property.
So this is the Illinois tax lien. So this is the Illinois Department of Revenue has a lien against the property for the person who had not paid some sort of Illinois tax or something regarding the state of Illinois. Mm-hmm. I see.
That is
so then they recorded it with the county, and so in order for this property to sell, 6 and 7 have to be addressed somehow.
They do. And those are the bigger items that really stop a sale. These are sometimes deal breakers because we know there's only 2 things in the world: death and taxes. And the reality of what is going to happen here is these 2 items have got to be dealt with. You can't get a release for these unless they were paid. But these are not items that are just going to get waived on any kind of a circumstance.
Gotcha. So in terms of addressing, and we're going to quickly jump in, remember we're Better Informed Housing. Our number is 312-738-1060 if you're calling us here. If you want to call us after the show, you can reach us at betterinformedhousing.org, betterinformed.org, www.betterinformed.org at 218 North Jefferson, Suite 103. Chicago, Illinois 60661. Our phone number is 312-533-2688. And you can email us at neighbors@betterinformed.org. And again, my name is Faisal Khatib. I'm here with Drew Wishover from Enterprise Title. And we're kind of going through some things here. So in terms of trying to get an Illinois tax lien removed, my experience is Illinois doesn't really negotiate, but that involvement essentially is talking to the state of Illinois and getting some sort of payoff or release in order to get that off a title, correct?
Yes.
And then from proceeds, how do they get paid then?
Absolutely. They can accept proceeds from the closing if there's enough of a income spread on that closing, then they will happily take your money, of course. And the truth is that if that can be done, that's probably the best way to do it. Otherwise, that has to be paid off straight out of your own finances, because what's going to happen is these are not going to be items that are going to ever be insured over or waived. These have to be dealt with, folks.
Gotcha. So looking at this, I see one more thing here, but you know what? We're running out of time. So one last thing. Again, we're going to announce who we are and give you time. If you have any questions regarding anything regarding title commitments or title issues or housing issues, you can always reach Better Informed Housing at betterinformed.org, 218 North Jefferson, Suite 103, Chicago, Illinois 60661, 312-533-2688, and you can email us at neighbors@betterinformed.org. Our phone number again is 312-533-2688. My name is Faisal Khatib, and I'm an attorney, and I'm with betterinformed.org, Better Informed Housing Corporation, and this is Drew Wishover with Enterprise Title. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to call me at betterinformed.org, and we'll try to answer all of your real estate questions and help get you educated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.